Hey there. In this video, what we're going to talk about is a couple things. One, we're going to talk about using Cal Poly's library to access online databases. And online databases are very similar to what Google Scholar does. Google Scholar basically surveys the internet and looks for journal articles based upon some search terms or some scientific articles based upon some search terms. The library databases do the same thing, but in a much more streamlined, much more tailored, and much more robust way. So I strongly recommend that you use the online databases that are available through Cal Poly's library. So I'll show you a demo of how to use that. And then we're going to incorporate that with some of the Mendeley tools. So as we get into this, I am assuming a couple things. I'm assuming one is that you have a Mendeley account, and two, that you've downloaded the Mendeley software. And the software tools specifically that you would need is the Mendeley Reference Manager for desktop, the Mendeley citation plugin for Microsoft Word, and the Mendeley web importer for Chrome or for whatever web browser you use. If you don't have that stuff yet, pause the video and get that stuff, okay? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. And as I share my screen, we're going to go to the Cal Poly portal. And from the Cal Poly portal, we're going to go to the library tab. And what the library tab will initially bring up is this general search engine. And the thing that we want to specifically look at is over here for your research, which is databases. So we'll go to databases. And before we get into all the databases that Cal Poly has access to, and here they are over here, these databases are generally like inventorying and searching published, oftentimes peer-reviewed journal articles from a bunch of different fields. So we need to figure out which of these library databases is most pertinent to the type of research that you're going to be doing. So I'm going to go to the research guides first. And from the research guides, I'm just going to look at natural resources management and environmental sciences. I'll click on that, and then I'll click on that same link again. And what it's going to bring up is a research guide that was put together by our reference librarian, Leila Kabugos. And on these recommended resources, what is being listed here are the Cal Poly library supported databases. And each one of these is surveying the scientific literature in several different fields. Agricola, of course, is looking at it in agriculture. Web of Science is looking at it in general science and environmental management areas. And then Georef is also looking at environmental engineering, environmental science in general, and geology. So we're going to use two of these tools as examples. The first one that we're going to use is Web of Science. So I'll click on that link, and it's going to bring up this search window. And I was just doing a search a few minutes ago, and here are the search terms that I decided to use: lithium battery storage, environmental pollution, and environmental management. If I wanted to, I could add another row. And from my row, I could pick different fields like topic, title, author, publication title, etc. For our purposes, though, we're just going to use the terms that I came up with. And so I'm going to do a search. And I see that with my search terms, I have 8 records to look at. And these are, in general, peer-reviewed scientific research articles using these search terms right here. So there's ways that I can filter my list, and you can go on the left over here and see different ways to filter it by author, publication year, document type. And I'm going to filter it by document type. And you can see that we have article and review article. In general, article coincides with what we call primary literature. Primary literature is the publication of brand new research that's never been published anywhere else. Those articles typically have, like a abstract, an introduction, a materials and methods, a results and discussion, and a conclusion or summary, and then a reference list. A review article is what's called secondary research. And secondary research is summarizing primary research articles. So textbooks are an example of secondary research. These review articles are the same thing. And what they do is they collect generally primary peer-reviewed research articles by topic and create a review paper or review article that's topical in nature. So let's just say that that's what I want to focus on, is these 2 review articles right here. So I'm going to click on article and I'm going to click on exclude. So what I have now is the 2 references, the future perspectives one and state of the art review. And now what I want to do is, since I have these, I want to transfer it to Mendeley. And what Mendeley is your own personal database of research that you've done in whatever area, in a specific field or on a specific project or on a specific class. So there's a couple different ways that we can do it, but one tool that I want to try to use is this tool up here, which has the M for the Mendeley symbol, and that's the Mendeley Web Importer. So I'm going to click on that button. And what it's going to do is it's going to look at this web page and see if it recognizes these articles. And from this little window here, we can see that what it's recognizing is the search terms that we use, but it's not recognizing these articles. So we can't use, for the Web of Science database, the Mendeley Web Importer tool. So there's other databases that it works with, but right now what it's telling us is that Mendeley Web Importer and Web of Science don't communicate well with each other. So I'm going to have to get these records a different way. So I'm going to click on that. And then what I'm going to do is select both of these and go to export. And so I'm going to export them. And the best way to do that, to add them to Mendeley, is the RIS or other reference software. So I'm going to select that. And the content that I want is the full record. So I'll do that, and then I'll go to export. And it's going to put this information from these 2 articles into this file right here, saved recs 4.ris. And so what I'm going to do now is import that into Mendeley. So let's go over to Mendeley, and here's Mendeley right here. And what I want to do is click on all references. So there's my whole library there, and I can click on add new and files from computer. And here's my downloads folder, and we don't see them here. And the reason for that is because of the file type that it's searching for. And so we're going to go to all files, and you can see that here is the 2 references that we just saved in the downloads folder. So I'm going to click open, and it's uploaded those 2 folders, or those 2 files. And now what I want to do is create a collection, and a collection is just a folder that's organizing my references that I've collected. So I'm going to scroll down here and click here, and then I'm just going to create a folder for today. It's just, and you can call it by, you can organize it by class, you can organize it by subject, you can organize them things by search term. I'm just going to call it today. Okay, so I hit the enter key to save them, and then there it is right there. So what I'm going to do is scroll back up, go to recently added, and I want to take these 2 records and put them in my folder that's called today's refs. So I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to go there, and just to make sure they're there, I'm going to click on that, and there they are. So now what I want to do is I want to take this information and make sure it's synced with my online version of this database. And when you create a Mendeley account, you'll automatically create an online version of your reference database so that you can access it even when you're not using your own personal laptop computer. So I'm going to click on the sync button to do that. So it's synced. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is you go back to the library website, and we'll go to here. This is where we were before, and I'm going to use a different library database. The one that I'm going to use this time is Georef. Okay, and the reason why we're going to use Georef this time is to show you a database that works with the Mendeley Web Importer tool, and you'll see how much easier it is with that. So you can see that the interface is a little bit different. The search terms, since this is looking at like geology related material, I'm just going to put in landscape evolution as a search term. I'm going to add a field, and I'm going to put in stormwater as another term. And I'm going to put in another term as sediment and erosion control. Okay. I'm going to hit the search button and see what comes up. All right. So I have 5 records or 5 references that have come up using these search terms. We can refine the search of those 5 records over here if we want. And here by document type is how I'm going to do it. I'm just going to select journal article. In this case, what I want is primarily just primary peer-reviewed research articles. So I'm going to click limit to those, and only those 2 will come up. And then I'm going to click on the Mendeley Web Importer, and let's see what happens. So you can see that with the Mendeley Web Importer tool, these references have actually come up. So I can directly use Mendeley and Mendeley's Web Importer to put these references in my personal database. So I'm going to select both of these records like that. And then the place where I want to put it is in that folder that I created called today. So I'm going to click on my library and then scroll down and select today's refs. So that is the folder that I just created. And then I'm going to click add. Okay. So that's all taken care of. Now what I want to do is go to Microsoft Word, and I want to pretend that I'm writing a research paper and insert these citations into the research paper and then create a bibliography or a reference list. So I'm going to just open up a Word document, and let's see, I'm going to just type out a sentence that says something like lithium battery storage facilities require environmental policies, or we'll just say robust environmental policies to manage them. And I want to insert the 2 references that are related to these. So I'm going to go to my references tab here, and then since I've downloaded the Mendeley citation plugin, you should see something like this, and click on that button, and it'll open up my Mendeley site window. I'll say get started, and it's going to ask me to sign in. So you need to put in your password. Hopefully you didn't forget it. All right, so it's loading Mendeley. Here's the folders that are possible up here. I want to put in my folder that's called today's refs. There we go. And then the 2 references that I want are these last 2. So I'm going to click on that one and click on that one. And maybe before I do that, though, I'm going to click on citation settings. So in citation settings, I can pick the citation style that I want. And by default, it's selected the APA 7th edition style. But if I don't want that one, I could change it. And even after you've written a paper, you can change it, and it'll automatically reformat your citations and your references. So if I wanted to change it, I could click on that, and it comes up with some that I've used before. The way that you want to search this is by like a journal article name. So if you have a style that you're familiar with working with, that's from a journal, you type in the journal name. So let's say that I wanted to use a journal called Environmental Pollution. There it is right there. So I could click on that, and I could just click on update citation style. So that's the one that's going to be used. I want to use APA. So I'm going to go back and use APA, update citation style. So that's all good. Go back to references and then click on insert two citations. So there they are there using APA style. And let's say in another section of this document, I was looking at the impacts of stormwater pollution on erosion and sediment control. Okay, and then I'm going to put in these two references like that. Insert those two citations. And now, let's say that I want to create my reference list or my bibliography. And I hope you're sitting down, because what's going to happen next is going to blow your mind. So what I'm going to do is use Mendeley to automatically format a bibliography for me. And I'll just click on those three dots right there and say insert bibliography. And what it's going to do is insert a bibliography right where my cursor is. So I'll go to insert bibliography and continue. And is your mind blown? My mind's pretty blown. So you can see that it's inserted the 4 references that I have and put them in the correct format. You will also notice, though, that there's a problem with a couple of them. Well, with this second one here, because what it's done is it's inserted the journal title in all caps, and that's not the proper format. So what that means is that I would need to go into this reference and change it or edit it basically, and just retype in International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health in lowercase, except for the first letters. Oh, this one's also has a problem, Ames Energy. So it imports, Mendeley imports the references according to what it recognizes on the websites. And sometimes they're not entirely perfect. So you will have to go back and make some small edits here and there. But going back into Mendeley, that is fairly straightforward. So if I wanted to fix this one, let's see, there it is right there. So I could just click on it, right? And I could change it. So that's the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. So what I would do is just retype it in the correct format, and then it'll update it in Mendeley. Okay, so that's pretty awesome, right?